What's up, everyone? It is Free Speech Saturday over here on the Madhouse. Hopefully, everybody is doing good. We have a hardcore topic that really gets people fired up, and that's the only thing that we know on the Madhouse is to get everybody fired up over here. But interracial marriage and dating, man, is going to be coming up in a couple minutes. Did you know that Kamala Harris, she only spent 7 minutes on stage? I was like, really? Damn, she ran off, man. She knows she getting her ass kicked, man. But there are some concerning stuff out there that's happening in 3 states. I guess the flip-flopping is going on right now. They are picking they vote for one candidate, it flips it to another one. Those electronic voting machines, they need to go. I don't trust them whatsoever. Do you?
Well, first you got the hanging chads, and now we have
that show. You know what? That shows you how far behind Karen is over here.
No, I'm talking about back in the day. We had remember where they had to recount because of all the hanging chads from the ballots.
Yeah,
and now we're having problems with electronic. No, it's like I don't go.
Why did I call you Karen? By the way,
shut up.
You are. This is the ultimate Karen.
Why don't we vote by Scantron?
Well, right. Well, it used to be that way. Why did I just call you a Karen? You're the biggest Karen I have ever met.
Because of lunch.
Yeah, because of lunch.
Because I was mad. I was mad, bro.
You were mad, bro.
Because I ordered my own food wrong.
What's up, Twitter and Rumble Free Speech friggin' Saturday? But yeah, she acted like an idiot through the whole freaking restaurant. I was sitting there like, you know what, really?
I ordered my own food wrong.
Why don't you just freaking wait till the waitress comes and figure it out? But no, she wanted to cause a scene like a fucking Karen. I should have had my damn video camera out so you can see what China Doll is really like.
Don't call me Karen.
Well, that's what you were today, man.
I was. I'm not gonna lie. I totally was.
You were totally off basis and all that stuff.
I apologize.
Now, what do you think? I'm going to bring some of this stuff. And again, we're going to be talking about a hardcore topic here, interracial marriage and dating. I think that China Doll is going to go spider monkey on me, probably.
Maybe.
Probably going to go spider monkey.
There will be arguing probably between us.
So, you know, you'll get to see that happening. But what you believe in the old man upstairs, right?
Yes.
You believe in Jesus and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, she missed the Catholic dinner, sent in a very cringe freaking video to it. Yes, she did. Everybody has been there except Walter Mondale, and he got his ass kicked in that one. But right after that, this is what she said.
With the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade, and they did as he intended. Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think
basically somebody was out there heckling and said, Christ is king.
Really?
And that's what she said.
And she said they're at the wrong rally?
Yep.
Ouch. Ouch.
Jesus is not welcome over at a Kamala freaking
I guess
rally.
Not.
He not welcome.
He not invited. He wasn't on the invite list.
But that really goes to show you off the cuff the way the Democratic Party really is.
That's sad.
It is sad. And then today, 7 minutes? She was gone.
She out?
She was out of there.
Out of there. She out of there. That's
and
just
it's funny. All her big rallies are because, like Usher's at one today, she has to get all these, celebrities to bring people in or bus them in.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's the way it is.
She's got to bring them in by bus just to have people there for her?
Yeah, to make her look good.
That's a sad thing. That's a sad state of affairs.
But this captures her. This is 100% on about how her interview with Fox News went and the way this person really
Harris,
is.
thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Brad.
Thank you.
We'll see how this goes for you.
Mrs. Harris, how many people do you believe have crossed the border since... Miss Harris. Kamala, please. Mrs. Vice President, it's a simple question.
I'm speaking. Excuse me, I'm speaking.
I apologize. All right, well, I'm just gonna say it. She destroyed him! Oh my gosh! Right? Oh golly, he's so embarrassed. I bet those Republicans are regretting that one. Kamala! Kamala! Kamala!
What in God's name was that?
That was funny as hell, wasn't it?
That was ridiculous.
That's basically the way she acted.
Oh my God, that was so stupid, but funny at the same
That
time.
was funny as hell, don't you think?
That was funny. I ain't gonna lie. That was a hilarious cartoon.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yo, that was sad.
Oh man,
Oh, my
again, coming
God.
up in about 5 minutes, we're going to be talking about interracial marriage and dating on there. Having a little fun before we get going. Welcome everybody from X and Rumble. And hey, it looks like we got some people on China's YouTube channel over there. But what do you think about Free Speech Saturdays?
Free Speech Saturdays is a highly entertaining show.
It is. It really is.
You can say what you want.
Say
I don't
what
know.
you want.
I don't know whether or not it's gonna stay up on my channel.
But it's probably not going to go up on your channel. But
But I mean, we'll see where it goes now, because it's there now. But it's probably not gonna stay.
right.
A for effort.
But that cartoon really
That was
freaking
funny. I don't care.
it really embodies of what she's all about. She can't answer a damn question.
Mm-hmm.
And it
was her-
also
that
gets the media right as well.
That was definitely her word vomit.
Oh my God, with her word vomit. Well, word salad, word vomit, you know, it is what it is. So, but yeah, here's what's going on in a couple counties right
Shelby
now.
County Election Commission member Venetia Kimbrough says several voters reported at least one incident at 10 to 12 precincts across the county. Representatives G.A. Hardaway and Antonio Parkinson, state lawmakers, both on the ballot and part of the Shelby County Democratic Caucus, say they received several calls from voters today. Here's a list of some of the voting sites provided to Action News 5 where voters said they had difficulty pressing one candidate. They said that their vote would change from the Democratic candidate to the Republican candidate. Now, Kimbrough says voters must press the name of the candidate and not the box next to the candidate's name. Remember, we're using these new touchscreens for the second time, but this is the largest election we're using them in, this new equipment. Now, Valencia also stressed voters should use a stylus when voting and ask for one if not given one at the polls.
I do not believe that it is anything that is nefarious in any.
Of course, a Democrat would say it's not nefarious and stuff, but what do you think about that? I think that's dangerous to our election process. We've seen that in 2020, and now this is happening already. And I seen a lot of people over on X saying, you know what, enough of the bullshit. We're on the end. We're not going to accept that shit this time around.
No, they shouldn't accept it. It's getting ridiculous. You know, it's like you got to press the name, not the box. Okay, so you press the name and then it's automatically changing to the opposite of what you're voting for, or what?
I don't know, man. You to tell how the tension is going in this country. Hey, everybody over on YouTube, China's now Road Rage is over there. Chicago Feeder's over there. Jason, Steve's over there. Awesome stuff, man. But you seen the tension firsthand last night.
Oh my God.
And this is the reason why you never talk
ridiculous.
religion and politics in a bar. What happened?
Oh my God. So this guy pulls up in a white pickup truck and people were outside.
Give us the,
smoking. And in his back window, he had a profile sticker of Trump's face. Everybody thought it was the coolest thing. Next thing you know it, he comes into the bar, and everybody's in the bar that's seen the truck outside, and this guy comes up to him and starts making all kinds of comments about Trump, and this guy's making comments about Kamala, and it was just in one corner, it was just these two going back and forth, yelling at each other
over a Trump sticker.
over a sticker.
They get triggered, these
Over a
freakers, and on the
sticker.
left, don't they? They get triggered.
Yeah, and I was just like, this is getting insane. This is just stupid. I just sat there laughing. I just didn't even want to get involved. You don't talk about that stuff at a bar.
But at the same time, it shows you the vision within the country. But it was only one guy.
Yeah.
Everybody else around here is Trump. And he goes and says, well, Trump called his son a retard. No, he didn't.
Yeah, he said that he would never vote for somebody that made comments about children with disabilities. And he goes, well, show me the proof. When did this happen?
And I bet he couldn't.
He couldn't show him anything. And he goes, yeah, just as I thought.
That's what they do. They just like that cartoon we just played of Kamala's bad stuff happening. They never have any facts. Never, ever, ever have any damn facts.
Yeah. They went back and forth for quite a while until the people that work at the bar decided to tell him that he needed to leave.
So they kicked him out.
They kicked out the one that was all for Harris.
Well, that happened. That's what people should be doing right there. Main topic today, and after that topic, we'll go into a little more of what Elon had to say about the election. Watch this, and I want to get your reaction, Chinatown.
Okay.
Your reaction.
All right.
All black people get respect for me. Fuck these white people. Did you ask her to keep it? I'm outside, just to let you know. Get the dogs out. I'm fucking bitch. Fucking bitch? I'm not losing no white person. I'm not losing no white person. Watch out. What you want to do? What you want to do? No, just take it. Come outside.
What do you think there, Chinatown?
That actually reminds me of something our son and I just saw at Target.
What happened?
It was a black man pushing a stroller with a baby in it, and his girlfriend was white, and pushing the Target cart, and a white man dressed like business casual slammed his cart into his girlfriend's cart and didn't apologize or anything. So the black guy got all pissed and went at him saying, you couldn't even apologize because you slammed into her cart. You did it on purpose. I totally saw. And he's like, no, I didn't. Maybe the two of you don't belong in Target.
Ooh, ouch.
And there was literally like I'd say under 6-month-old baby in the stroller.
Now, that's kind of a different type of experience from what this guy was doing.
Yeah, this guy was like purposely walking into white people.
So ain't that reverse racism, or to them, it's not?
Like I've said before, when I've saw
China now about to go under fire right now.
When I've seen comedians, it's okay for a black comedian to make comments about other races, but white comedians can't make comments about blacks.
Oh, I do that all the time. But I ain't worried. I ain't on that fucking woke bull.
I mean, it's like, I personally think that
But what do you think about the attitude of him doing that? And here he has a white freaking girlfriend.
I don't understand why he was giving such attitude. Nobody seemed to have been saying or doing anything to him.
No, he was just doing it to do it because they know they would get away with it.
Well, I was kind of waiting for that last guy that grabbed onto him to like snap, to be honest with you.
But if he did, you know what would have happened in the media is they would have turned it around as a hate crime.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been a white on black, and it would have been a hate crime, and it would have been considered racist.
He's gonna run into the one you don't want to mess with.
He's gonna run into
and
the
get
wrong person.
laid the hell out is what's gonna happen.
I mean, I don't know if he thought he was like privileged or what he was thinking. I don't know what was going through his head, and I couldn't really hear the comments other than the fact he's not going to move for any white person. That's like the only comment that I could hear.
Now, let me ask you something here. You got to see something firsthand today that was involving an interracial couple.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people ask me what my opinion on that kind of stuff is. And it's very simple.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's two different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never going to work. The stats say, how we got that 50% divorce rate, over 50%.
Yeah.
Well, it's even more for interracial couples. And the reason for that is, I believe, just that. It's different cultures, and you shouldn't mix the cultures. It even says that in the Bible. So I believe in that kind of stuff. And you have to ask yourself, you seen that baby today.
Yeah, it was a cute baby too.
How is it going to affect the baby?
Well, I think the baby's gonna the kids in interracial relationships probably have it harder than the actual couple. In my opinion. And I know this from experience because I do have a cousin who is mulatto. She's half white, half black, and I watched her grow up as a child, and I used to watch my cousin. The mom is white, and we were very close growing up, and I used to watch her get a lot of slack when she would be carrying around her daughter because her daughter looked very black when she was young, but now she almost looks Hispanic because she's like so light, where her dad was jet black, like Jamaican black.
And let me ask you something. Where's he?
He was a part of her life growing up. I don't know now, but
was he with the mother is what I'm asking.
No, it was like a one-night stand on a cruise ship.
Ouch.
Yeah, it was a one-night stand on a cruise ship, 100%.
And she didn't even think about throwing a rubber on, huh?
Nope. Her whole entire life, she wanted to get pregnant, and the guy that she was married to never wanted kids. So that was one of the main reasons why they ended up getting divorced. And within the first year of her being divorced, she actually worked on cruise ships as a activities director. And she had this one night stand with this Jamaican guy, and bam, she got pregnant.
How has it been for her as far as dating? Because I know I have seen
her daughter.
No, I'm not talking about her daughter. I'm talking about her. I have seen a lot of comments on a lot of threads on X and Rumble where they actually allow free speech about they would put up a little short of a woman complaining that white men won't give her a second look after being a black man, being with one.
That's true. It's true in her situation because after she had her daughter,
do you blame a white man?
I don't think to be honest with you, I know for a fact the first 6 years of her daughter's life, because I was in touch with her for the first 6 years, she never dated after having her daughter.
Now, do you blame a white man for not doing that?
Do I blame them? I wouldn't blame them. I mean, everybody has a choice. She chose to sleep with that guy.
A lot of hard topics coming down here right now. And
yeah, this is where China Doll goes, shoot. She chose to sleep with him. She chose to get pregnant.
But do you see how the different cultures come into play?
Entrapped him, I guess you can say.
And I know from talking to a couple of my friends that are black, that black women cannot stand white women with a black man.
Oh, I can probably guarantee that.
They can't stand it.
I've heard that at work.
What do you mean at work?
I've heard it at work because we actually have 2 couples that live in the area that is a white girl with a black man. And they've been seen together at my job. And a black girl came in one of the days that couple was in there. And she made a comment to the white girl. The black girl did. She made a comment telling her, "Can't you get your own kind of man? Leave our men alone."
That's what was said.
Yeah. The black girl told the white girl to leave our men alone.
And with me, with interracial marriage, now, me, I'd marry a Hispanic in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I know you would.
In a heartbeat. China wasn't here, that's the way it would have been.
And if you had the opportunity, China'd be gone.
No, I wouldn't do
Yeah,
that to
you
China.
would. Yeah, you would.
I wouldn't do
yeah,
that
you
to
would.
China.
Yeah, you would. Yes, you would.
But I think it comes down to actually demographics within our neighborhoods. And what I'm talking about is Chicago. I was on the north side where it was mostly a Latino neighborhood with me.
Oh, Jason asked a question about what the black guy said in response to the black girl.
We'll go there in a second.
Okay.
But that's the way it was. I was just raised that way. And on the streets, it's a different way of thinking, at our age group anyway.
Yeah.
Now it's different for a lot of the kids that are coming up. It's not in Chicago the way it used to be.
No. Well,
So
it used to actually didn't I mean, I read that it actually used to be illegal
it used to be illegal, yeah.
for whites and blacks to be
Which
together.
I don't understand, because if you believe in freedom, you don't judge, you don't freaking dictate to other people what they're going to do.
No.
And that's one of the biggest things that I'm huge on. So if somebody wants to marry a black, or a black wants to marry a white, or a black wants to marry a Hispanic, why would you say you couldn't?
I don't think
That's the way the states used to do it,
yeah.
especially down south. That's the way do you believe the government should tell you what to do?
No. I don't think there's a lot of things the government shouldn't tell anybody to do. They shouldn't tell you who you can.
Commanders in the house.
They shouldn't, yeah. And they should never be able to tell you who you can and can't date, who you can and can't marry. There's a lot of things the government shouldn't be involved in.
One of
in
these
your
days, I'm
life.
going to have Commander on the show. I really like him. But go ahead. I should have everybody on the show that's in the chat room.
Every day, pick a new person.
Right. But there was an actual decision at the federal level about interracial marriages, because that was actually dangerous down south.
Mm.
It still is in the northeast corner of Mississippi where, my aunt lives. It's not.
Well, yeah, your aunt even to tell you, don't go that way.
They got a lot of sunrise cities still up in the northeast of Mississippi, man. But that's one thing. I guess it's different if you're from an urban area to a rural area, the way they look at it. That's where I'm talking about the cultures coming different.
Mm-hmm. It seems to be more of a norm nowadays. You see it a lot,
but how does that affect the kid? We were talking about how it affects the kids. I think they get more crap, which it's not their fault.
No, the kids didn't ask to be here. Nobody's kids asked to be here.
So I think that's kind of ignorant. You go after the kids for that.
Yeah, well, the first 6 years of her life, where I was actually involved in my cousin and her daughter's life, she got a little slack for it, like, kindergarten, first grade. She got, like, the kids were kind of mean. And
what question did they have for me?
No, Jason asked me what the black guy said in response in the gas station to the black girl.
What did he?
He said to mind your business. Nobody date you anyways.
But isn't there, so there's interracial tension even with this. So yeah, there's a racial type of deal, and that's where the cultures come in, where the black women say, no, that ain't happening.
Black women don't seem to like white women with their men at all.
Now, could you say the same case for whites with black women?
Like a white man with a black woman? You don't see it as often, at least not around here.
And it's mostly in the college educated demographic that happens. But I don't think they get as much crap as, say, the black woman giving the white woman problems.
No. I mean, I don't see it that often with the white guy with the black chick. I don't see that often. Every time I see an interracial couple where it's, I see the black guy with the white girl.
Mhm.
That's what I see at like everywhere.
So at the same point, when you're looking at that, what does that tell you about the culture?
Whose?
The the blacks culture, like a black woman saying, "Hey, what the hell? Stay away from our guys."
Maybe she's just jealous.
Interesting, and this is out of Newsweek. Nearly 20% of Americans think interracial marriage is morally wrong. And the thing you were talking about, it was more than 50 years ago when Loving versus Virginia, that was a Supreme Court decision that banned state level laws preventing interracial marriage. And again, I cannot even believe that freaking state was trying to, legislate who a person could be with. That's kind of screwed up. But in 2018, there are a large number of Americans, nearly 20%, who feel there is something wrong with interracial marriage. And that's according to a YouGov poll. Then 17% of respondents said interracial marriage was morally wrong, while 83% said it was morally acceptable. There was a bit of a divide along party lines. There always is, with 28% of Republicans and just 12% of Democrats replying that interracial marriage was wrong. Now, there wasn't much of a difference among respondents. However, by race, 17% of white respondents felt interracial marriage was morally wrong, compared with 18%. That's more now. Black respondents and 15% of Hispanics. What do you think of only 17% of whites said that, but 18% of blacks and 15% of Hispanics?
Saying that is morally wrong?
Yeah, there was more from the black community that said it was morally wrong.
By 1%.
But it's still, that's kind of surprising, no?
I don't know. I guess I'm just tired of hearing people judging each other.
But I'm talking about, isn't that an eye opener right there?
That 18% of black respondents say that it's morally wrong for the interracial.
And there was only 17% of whites that said that.
I'm kind of surprised. Honestly, I actually thought the whites would be more, to be honest with you. I don't know why, but I did.
Now, another report from the Pew Research Center, and this is 2015, so it's probably changed. That's over 11 years ago. 1 in 6 newlyweds were married to someone of a different race, compared to just 3% in 1967. 29% of Asian newlyweds were intermarried, compared with 27% of Hispanics, 18% of black newlyweds, and 11% of white newlyweds. So what you're talking about is actually true, where it's unusual to see a white guy with a black woman. But on the other hand, what this is saying is, there's more black men with white women.
I don't know. Commander Bell will tell you different. His sister married a white guy.
Well, that's cool. I hate this chat. This chat goes so fast for me. So Commander Bell, your sister married to. How does that affect not only your family, but what others say about her? You know what I'm saying?
Why?
No, I'm just asking him about this.
Like when their two families get together?
Well, yeah, but outside the families, within the community.
Oh, within the community? How does his sister get any grief?
Yeah, does his sister get any grief? Because according to this, it says 18% of respondents think it's morally wrong. Now, I'm one of them guys that say, hey, only God can judge. That's my biggest fear in the world, is judging somebody else. What?
Shall we start now?
Start now.
Start now?
Start now.
Okay, what would you do if your daughter brought a black man home?
What would I do if she brought a black man home?
Yes.
I would go right back at you and say, and I argue with you all about this all the time. I come from an era where that wasn't allowed, and it's already stuck in my mind. I came from where neighborhoods were blocked off and you didn't cross lines.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe, and I do get afraid, say a baby was born out of that,
Mm-hmm.
how the hell the baby would live,
What do you mean?
as far as what they would have to deal with. I don't want no kid having to deal with that kind of shit. I don't.
But you'd be the papa.
Yeah, I might be the papa,
So
but a papa don't want to see their grandkid in pain.
No, but you'd step in, wouldn't you?
I can only step in
Because you're a grandparent and not
grandparent.
the parent. Mm.
But do I think the cultures mix? I don't think the cultures mix. Because how are you going to, and this is a real big problem with that, is how am I going to even freaking teach you about something like that?
Who?
About somebody's culture if I'm not from there?
Yeah, that's true.
How am I going to do it?
But they have a parent for that.
Do they? A lot of people end up in big divorces.
And if they don't have a parent, maybe they have somebody else from the family that could help them.
True. But are those people always going to be there for the family is the question. But you have to understand where I come from. And you never do.
No.
Because you grew up in Scumberg.
I grew up in Schaumburg, where when I grew up, it was pretty much all white. There were very few black, and those that were black were just...
You got to remember, I came... My second mother's a Latino, couldn't speak a lick of English.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to identify by that. And that is actually the way it is. Whites and Hispanics, get along better.
Hmm.
And with all the fighting that happened in the neighborhood.
So a white and a Hispanic relationship is a lot...
We're closer in culture.
How?
We're a lot closer in culture. Where I can't relate to somebody who... Their black culture. I can't.
Yeah, but you can learn.
Yeah, you can learn, but at the same time, if you come from that kind of environment that I came from, it's not going to happen.
Commander Bell said his father was not happy.
There you go. And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, you can grow on somebody to see how they are. But here you are, you blame me for where you know my father.
Yeah.
Before he died, you know who, you think that would ever happen?
What, in your house?
Yeah.
You dating outside your race? No, that would never have happened. Not with your dad. It wouldn't have happened.
Do you think it would have happened in our friend's house?
What do you mean?
Like Frankie?
Nope. No, because no.
So that's already embedded in our minds. I tell the kids all the time because they think I'm what? They think I'm racist.
Yes.
They think I'm xenophobic.
They think you're extremely racist.
And it's like, well, wait a second. Why can't you step back and look at it from my point of view? Where we were walled off. That's what people don't get about inner cities. You're walled off according to a race. Chicago is the most racist city around. And the Democrats made sure of that. Everybody who's black is on the south and west side.
That's how it's always
now
been,
you got
hasn't it?
Hispanics moving in on the south side. On the north side, it was always Hispanic, white, Polish, all that kind of stuff. Italians.
Well, where we were at was Italian and Polish.
Italian and Polish. So you see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, everything made more sense to me once we lived there. Like, it made more sense to me where you were coming from as far as your viewpoints. Because how would I know? I grew up in Schaumburg. you know, but it's like when we lived in Chicago, we lived literally the neighborhood we were living in with the kids when they were young was mainly Polish and Italian.
Now, let me bring this up because Black Dragon, BD, I actually talked to him right before the show.
You did?
In the sense, and this shows you where he's coming from as well, where he would be on this topic. He does not think that black outlaw motorcycle clubs, 1%ers, should have white guys in there. He doesn't think that should happen because they need something to themselves. So do you see where the racial segregation, we can all be freaking great ass friends. That's fine.
Okay.
But when it comes to that kind of stuff, for the older guys, it's a lot different.
Okay, then here's a question for you. I didn't want to even go here, but I'm going to ask you.
Mm.
The 1%er clubs in our area that are mainly white, do they allow blacks?
No, because it's a different culture.
Okay.
It's a different scene.
Well, I was just curious. You know, I mean, I kind of knew the answer, but I wanted to hear you say it.
But that shows you where BD's coming from. He's like, no, that shouldn't happen. And I'm the same way.
Okay, so like for example, BD's club would know that he
well,
was
he's
involved,
a 99%.
But I'm just
he's
saying,
not an outlaw club.
But no, but I'm just saying the club that he was involved in would never have a white person.
No, they all had. They're a mixed race club.
Oh, I did not know that. Sorry.
But when it comes to outlaw clubs, it's a lot different thing. So that's telling you, hey, me and BD can be the best of friends, but I just don't want my sister or something like marrying into your race. And that's the same way
you not having a sister.
That's the way he thinks as well. There's an understanding, but I'm 51 years old almost.
Right.
Where the younger kids don't think that way. And am I going to tell the kids what to think? I'll tell them my opinion.
Now, do the clubs in this area, you know, from Chicago out to here, the 1% clubs that are...
We're not going to stay on 1% clubs.
Do they allow Hispanics?
Yes, they do, because we're closer in culture.
Well, I was just asking that, you know, because Gio asked whether or not his BD's club would allow Hispanics.
They do. But everybody
it's
knows me growing up in the Latino narrative, we're just closer. You'd even see it in the prison system. Whites and Hispanics, they roll together.
Yeah.
The Peckerwoods and Essays, they roll together.
Except for some group of whites. They stay further away. Sorry.
That's just, and you got to accept that's the way the world is.
Well, yeah, so you're saying it's like in the movies when you watch a prison movie and it's like literally segregated like that? Like when they all go out
in California,
like when they all go out in the yard?
Well, that's just like
Do they just go to their own cliques?
With Jimmy.
Yeah, your son.
They put somebody that was not supposed to be there in a cell, and he put a TV through their head.
Yeah, that didn't end well.
That's the way it works in there. And that's the way it works in the neighborhood. I think we can have beneficial friendships, but when it comes to that stuff, it's always going to be the decade you were born or the generation you're in. Because a lot of us see the problems. We lived through the problems.
Mm-hmm.
Am I lying?
What?
We lived through that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're true. That's true.
Now, your parents were different than mine.
Mm-hmm. My parents were, well, especially my dad.
Okay, what would your dad said?
If what?
If you went with a black guy.
I would have been disowned.
But I'm the guy, I'm the bad one?
I'm just saying, I would have been disowned. My dad said, basically, you can be friends with whoever you want, but you date your own kind. That was my dad. That's how he said it.
Where was he come from? And your dad, you know, even though I didn't talk to your family,
no,
he seemed like an outstanding guy to me.
Because of how he was raised. And I think that's where everything stems from, is how people are how you are raised.
So basically, in a decade or two after we're gone,
Mm-hmm.
it might finally be socially acceptable. But I cannot
So
see a kid being put through that. Oh my God, I can't.
So you don't think in this day and age in 2024 that it's socially acceptable?
Well, it might be for the younger generations, but you got the older guys like me, and I guarantee most of them in the chat room that say, not happening. And here you were making me out to be a bad
I'm
guy.
not trying to make you be out the bad guy.
When your
because-
own father said ain't happening.
Because my thinking on it is you can't. You can't.
I don't believe in telling people what to do.
You can't stop what the heart wants.
That's fine, but at the same time, when somebody comes back and says, well, he's a racist because he won't date me because I was with somebody that was black, why are you yelling at the white guy? Yeah, there's stigma there. You should have expected that, I think.
Yeah, but is the stigma that, or is the stigma more like they don't want to be around you because you have a kid? They don't want a person. They don't want a person with baggage.
Well, it could be that,
because
but most of the time, I'm going to tell you what, my friends would look at that and say, no fucking way. I don't care if she's a knockout, bodacious 10 out of a freaking 10.
Man, my cousin wasn't that hot.
They wouldn't go with her. They wouldn't touch her.
They wouldn't touch her because she was with a black man.
Yeah, they wouldn't do it. And most in the biker scene are exact same way. You know, people can try to sugarcoat stuff, but that's just the way life is. That's just the way life is. And I'm glad you said that about your dad.
Yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
No.
Because we've never actually sat and talked about it. Like, literally, we never have, because normally we just argue about it.
Commander says he lives in San Diego. He sees no white, black dragon members. Let's see here. Steve, he spent 25 years in a majority Hispanic set. And I think he was right there. Everyone was moving on from all this racist BS until Obama came into power and used it to divide us again 100%. Do you think the way...
Do you think it's going to happen with Kamala?
No, I'm talking about, did they actually interject it with their crap? Did they actually divide us when it came to race?
Who?
Obama. I believe he's correct, because that's all Obama talked about.
I don't know. I never really paid much attention when Obama
That's
was
just
in
like
office,
the FBI right
honest.
now. Well, white nationalists, white supremacists, that's the biggest threat to our country. Are you kidding me? Shut up, stupid. I guess you didn't live in the 90s, man, with, Waco and all that shit happening. But they use that, and that's deplorable right there, instead of facing the issues. And you said it perfectly. You can't
stop what your heart wants. If your heart, you got to follow. You can't control who you fall in love with. You can't control who you fall in love with.
No, you can't. But are you now seeing my point with the cultural divide?
Well,
and you've seen the stats right there. Even 18% more than whites believe it's morally wrong.
I want to get a poll on the people that are listening. What they think.
If you're listening, put yes or no in the comments section.
I want a yes if you think it's wrong for interracial. And it doesn't matter white, black, Mexican, white. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
There's your poll right there for today. Make sure you take it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to having friends, hell yeah. Or serving in the foxhole, fuck yeah. It's just when it comes to that stuff, and especially a lot of people.
So in other words, you're saying that the kids suffer, and that's what everybody should worry about in an interracial relationship.
It's bad enough the kids have to go through their
bullying
childhood
as it is, and now it's going to be doubled up.
Well, not only that, but they have to go through so much traumatic shit now in this country that we got to worry about our kids. Why would you want to put something like that on another younger kid? Because, you know, like in my old neighborhood, they'd be on that in a heartbeat. They'd be on that in a heartbeat, giving that kid all kinds of hell.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I want that? I don't want that.
So far, we're getting no, that it's not morally wrong.
Well, let them keep on answering.
I am.
But I just found it kind of eye-opening that poll said 20% of Americans think it's morally wrong. Now, when it comes to being moral, that's what confuses me. Whose morals are you talking about?
Yeah, that was actually going to ask. Whose morals are they going based off of?
Is it going off of what you knew or what you were told or what society has to say? That's where I'm confused here. When you say it's morally wrong, is that like, yeah, it's morally wrong for you to kill somebody? Is that the group that they're putting it into?
I think it's society as a whole is what they're talking about. That society as a whole thinks that it's
Morally
wrong.
That is a very interesting.
I mean, okay, when you watch news stories, okay, when you're reading news stories, okay, even the news stories that like we do on Morning Madhouse or whatever, every news story that involves a black person or a Hispanic person, the articles always have to state it.
Right.
But if you read an article about a white person, why doesn't it say a white person?
Well, they are automatically bad. And I think
they automatically assume that you know it was a white person.
Well, what's really funny, the racial divide in this country is usually through the media. It really is. When you have it to where you're bashing on one race, that race is going to push back. And I think that's what you're seeing right now, because everybody's a racist who's white.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm sitting there like, what the hell are you talking about?
Now, see, Jason makes a good point. Especially considering the day and age right now when it comes to applications and they still ask about race. I say play up whatever you can get ahead. That's what Jason said. What do you think? Why do job applications ask race?
I think that's bullshit.
Why do they ask race? Why don't you just ask my religion too on a job application?
Now, at the same time, do you know how much heat I took? So much heat when I agreed with affirmative action on that debate. People were pissed. But here's what I say when it comes to affirmative action. Unless you have lived around where I grew up, or maybe in New York, the Bronx, Brooklyn, those kids don't have any shot whatsoever. Do you think they have anything, any shot on the South Side to get away from the situation they're in?
No, because they're just going to follow what they
know.
What they know.
So why not give them a hand up in getting a good education?
And notice you said hand up and not hand out.
Yeah, hand up. You got to help the kids get educated. So we know statistically that blacks have a hard time, Hispanics have a hard time. So give them a chance to go to Harvard. Give them a chance to go to Notre Dame. So that's where I don't think affirmative action was bad. But again, I'm a blue dog. I used to be a blue dog Democrat. I was a freaking Kennedy Democrat. And they just came back with so much hate on me. It was unreal. They did. You should have seen the disgusting shit I got. I should do a show on that one. What else here?
Steve, if anyone wants to know how the races really feel about each other and how it really works, go to the joint for a few years.
That's what I was talking about. That's how it works.
Geo.
It's buried in our psyche.
Geo, I don't.
But do you, before you get to Geo, don't you agree with me on affirmative action? Yes, they're using a race to determine eligibility. They might not be qualified, whatever. But if you see some of these neighborhoods that these kids come from, you got to give them a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
So you agree affirmative action is good and not bad.
From how you just explained it.
That's the way I look at it. But everybody else will look at it, well, they're pulling the race card. Well, wait a second here. You got a kid growing up in the ghetto, and you have it to where all they're doing is seeing people getting shot. And they want to, and we're always talking about you got to try to lift yourself out of that environment.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways to get out of that environment is to go to school. Yeah, and we already, how is the public schools in Chicago?
As far as our daughter said they were too easy.
They'll pass anybody.
Yeah, our daughter said it was way too easy, and she doesn't know how anybody can fail at those schools. She said she needed something more challenging. That's one of the
So if they're
reasons.
doing that in the schools to these kids,
And if you're in sports out,
half of them can't read or write when they graduate high school.
a lot of them out that way, if you're in a sport, they're going to pass you because you play a sport.
So how are they going to compete against, say, an Asian or a white? How are they going to compete? They're not going to be able to. So you got to give them a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Supreme Court struck that down. They struck it down flat. But I believe that's a policy right there that needs to be put involved because, you know, well, you're racist because you don't believe in, you know, interracial marriage and stuff. Well, wait a second here. Why don't you sit back and look at everything I think?
Yeah, they got to understand more where a person's coming from.
So does the same apply to millions of white kids in trailers across the country with meth head parents? I believe it should. I believe it should. And they should fall under the affirmative action because of, you know, I think it needs to be on an individual basis. I think it should be based on the income level of somebody and the area where they are. That's the way I believe.
Gio said, I don't believe in the race card. I say the best man or best woman should be picked for the job, not because of color. Now, there's something that I noticed.
But at the same time with that statement, the best man for the best job, how are you going to have, say, a black kid on the south side of Chicago compete? Because it's not a situation of themselves that put them in that. It was the school system and the neighborhood. So how are they going to be able to compete? You're actually keeping them down.
Are you saying compete with a white person at a job?
Say, okay, a black kid from the south side of Chicago competing with a white kid from Schaumburg. Does that black kid have any chance?
Probably not. For a job, are we talking about?
No, I'm talking about getting into a school.
Like college?
Yeah. As far as, say, Notre Dame or Harvard, do they got a chance to get in there unless somebody helps them?
Probably not unless somebody helps them.
So is that racist or based on race that this kid is getting an opportunity to move forward?
It's getting the raw end of the stick.
So the best man for the job, when you look at that, it's really not logical because they don't have a chance in the first place. So how can they be the best? If you give them the education, they could be the best person for the job.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, there's something that I noticed Thursday because I was looking in our site where we get all our applications in. And they added something to if you do the applications electronically. Not only do they want to know whether what your race is, okay? Now they're having you put on applications whether you're a he, a him, a they, a them, or a she or a her.
Well, we all know the government wants information for bullshit. They give out the work opportunity tax credit to these companies. And it is a shame because that is more division than anything. But I just think that the conversation is more of, okay, we got to take it point by point by point instead of, putting it in a whole basket. I know a lot of creators that are going to watch me say, you know what, that's bullshit Hollywood. You know what I was called, dude?
Mm.
You know
Did
what?
you just call me dude?
Yeah, because this pisses me off.
Really? You just...
After I agreed with affirmative action, I actually had somebody call me a race traitor.
Wow.
And you know how much that pisses me off. That's like somebody saying to BD, hey, I'm going to take your black card. That pissed me off. But because I want to see our kids in this country do better than we did, I was a race traitor.
Wow.
That's why you
got people sending you emails about you being racist. Now you're getting comments about being a race traitor.
Where I'm not put in the same type of basket, if you will, with my ideology. I look at it from point by point. Jason, oh yeah, that's the norm nowadays with my job. The part of the application I had to skip was when they asked me his
personal pronouns.
Personal pronouns. Steve heard that one before. Let's go to.
They all heard you call me dude before.
Mike, it starts before education. It starts with what you learn from your parents. A father should be a good influence. These kids who parents are third generation welfare have no example at home. And I agree with that. And I've talked about that on the show where people make a living generation after generation on the welfare system.
Well, and I think
that's where I come in with the affirmative action. You got to give these kids a chance.
I think we've touched base on that a lot. You know, like things are not going to change for people in specific neighborhoods because they're just following the norm.
That's what the kids know.
Mm-hmm.
Just like me and my ideology on the interracial marriage and dating, that's what I was taught. But at the same time, you got to look at their situation and say, well, how are they going to better themselves if you won't give them a hand up?
Okay, so do you think, in your opinion, because, you know, Hollywood, it said in here from Road Rage that you're not racist, you just hate Schomburg.
You know the reason why, and it's just not Schomburg. Because most of Schomburg's not rich.
No, it's not. It's not, and everybody thinks it is.
But when you have people stick their nose up, and I've seen this happen to kids, it's brutal for these kids now. They stick their nose up because of where I had to deal with it. Your parents did it to me.
Yeah, they did. My parents did not like you at all.
Because I wasn't the one in the business suit or anything. But look at me now.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like even interacting with people with money. Because they look down at you. So it's not because I don't like Scumberg.
No.
It's because of the people's attitude with there.
Well, and to be honest.
Now, would your dad have agreed with affirmative action?
I don't know. I can't answer that. To be honest with you, I can't answer that. My dad and I really never talk politics, so I don't know.
Would he have believed that, hey, a black kid would have an opportunity to go to school because there was quotas to let them in?
Well, I can give an example.
Well, give an example.
When we lived in a trailer park, people, because we did.
Hell yeah, we did.
And it was probably the best place that we frickin' lived besides here.
And what did I do? I worked us out of it.
Yeah, but we lived in a trailer park, okay? And there were 2 elementary schools, one on one side of the railroad tracks and then a new one that they built. And what they ended up doing was every child from the trailer park had to go to the newly built school because they bussed in non-English speaking Hispanics from Elgin to go to the other public school. So I think what they were doing in that situation was trying to help the kids from the Elgin location to better them by putting them in a different school system.
And you know what? That's why I believe in school choice.
I think it should be option. I think people should be able to choose what school they go to. but it's not. Like, even growing up where I grew up in Schaumburg, we didn't get a choice of, there was, 3 high schools right there. There was Schaumburg High School, Conant High School, and Hoffman Estates High School. And both Conant and Hoffman were in Hoffman Estates. But if you were on this side of this road, you had to go to this school. If you were on this side of the street, you had to go to this school.
Mm-hmm.
So out of the 3 high schools, we didn't have a choice where we got to go. Would I have wanted to go to a different school? Maybe, but I don't know. So
and this
it was all based on borders of your town on what school you went to.
This is going to be something we talk about, Mike. Ben Carson was raised in the hood by a single mother who could not read. She worked 3 jobs, such as a maid, worked to support her 2 boys. She would not take any welfare. She made Ben read a book weekly. We're going to be talking about that on another episode because that's a big episode as well. But what do you think about that? To get out of the hood,
She was trying to better her family,
and it was
doing
through
that.
education.
And she, even though she wasn't as educated, it sounds to me like she wanted her kids to be better than her, which every parent wants.
So would you blame it? I don't know if it happened. I don't know his background story or any of that. So would you blame Ben Carson, I think he's a neurologist, for somebody giving him a chance to go to a school he wouldn't otherwise have?
I think everybody should be able to get that opportunity. I think everybody should be able to get the opportunity to become a better person.
So what do you think about, and it's mostly Republican. You got to remember, I'm an independent now. I like stuff. It depends what your position is and what kind of goals you have if I'm going to vote for you. But it's mostly on the Republican side that brings up, hey, that's based on race, affirmative action. That's exactly what they'll say, and that's where they're wrong.
Commander Bell says that's why Democrats hate Ben Carson.
And that could be. But just think, and I'll research that, if he was given a chance under affirmative action to go to school. Look how he turned out.
Okay, so I want to give you an example. Let's take, and Jason, that what you put about the 3 high schools, that's totally accurate. Let's take a black kid that went to one of the high schools in the town I grew up with, and a black kid on the south side of Chicago. Do I think they're going to have the same opportunities in an education?
Hell no.
I don't.
Hell no.
Because of the education in, Schaumburg area is going to be a little bit tougher.
It's 1,000 times better than what they get in Chicago.
Exactly. So why aren't they bettering the education system?
That's because the teacher unions are too busy bleeding the system dry with their demands in Illinois and in Chicago. Instead of giving them raises, put it towards freaking the kids. That's what's going on. The teacher unions, and everybody knows how I feel about unions.
Yeah, I know.
But the teachers unions, their demands, their pensions. Well, wait a second. You're supposed to care about these kids. Why are you demanding this? Okay, go and demand, hey, let's get them better tablets. Let's get them better education. No, they don't care.
Yeah, because if you look at the kids right here that go to our school in the town we live in, they get what are they called? The notebooks?
Yeah.
The computers?
Yeah, tablets.
They're not tablets. They're actual laptops from the school. Do they give those to the kids on the south side of Chicago? Probably not.
No, they're too busy paying the teachers union.
But I'm just saying, and the sad part is it's not the kid's fault. It's not a kid from here's fault. It's not a kid from Schaumburg's fault. It's that kid was raised.
And what's funny is
area.
what a lot of people don't know about me is I might have a belief when it comes to this, But some of the people that I really liked and you need to look up to is people like Martin Luther King or, Malcolm X. I don't know, man. He was he was on the wild side right there, but I do believe in some of his thoughts when it came to liberals. There's nothing more dangerous for a black guy than a white liberal. They're not your friend. So if you look at it from the issues that I look at, how could you say that?
Say what?
What you would say about me? Well, you're racist for having this kind of view.
Because you have said. You even said, well, you did. You said to me that if our daughter...
That's because I don't believe in the cultural issues that pop up.
Maybe that's why I just never fit in a shopper. I don't know.
But at the same time, I believe in these other things. So you can't take me as a one issue type of guy.
But see, that's just it. People see you as who you are, not knowing you, and automatically have a judgment about you.
Well, that's the way it is all the time.
But it's not just with you, it's with everybody.
Now I'm going to get more hate mail because I talked about freaking affirmative action. Now I'm going to get more. But what does that say about the person that is actually writing that kind of stuff?
Writing what?
That, hey, Hollywood's a race traitor because he believes in affirmative action.
They're not listening to how you explained it.
Or they just don't care.
They don't. Well, a lot of people just don't care. To be honest, they just don't care.
But after explaining how the Chicago, you remember Michelle, my first freaking girlfriend. She came to the lodge and we sat and talked, and that's one of the things we talked about. And she said it straight up. School system sucks. Most teachers are just there to collect a paycheck, not teach them.
Well, and to tell you the honest truth, being that we even tried when we lived in Chicago, because she said the schools were so too easy, we even tried putting her in private school. She went to a Lutheran school for a year, and it wasn't much better. It was too easy.
Now, I agree, Steve. No one has it harder than a black person who decides to vote conservative. Their own people are terrible to them for having a different opinion. And you know what? That's what I don't understand as myself is, it was up until the 60s that blacks were Republicans. They were up to the 60s. And then the Great Migration and all that stuff happened. And they fell for this Democratic crap. But black families are just as conservative as white families or Hispanic families. They want good for their kids. So when somebody actually comes out and says that to the Democratic Party, that, hey, I have values, they get all messed up in the head. That's because they want to depend on blacks listening to them. That's why it's every 2 or 4 years that they ever want them. And that's what I've gotten a debate with DeBD about this. Why do you keep giving them your vote? They're not doing nothing for you. Well, that's just the way we were raised. But that ain't helping you. And when somebody steps out from that way of thinking, that's like Brian Donalds, man. He's a kick-ass freaking congressman. He's a black guy. He comes out and tells it the way it is.
Oh, I didn't know that, Jason. Did you? You probably know that one.
What?
Jason.
Read it.
Wasn't it LBJ who said, I'll have those voting Democrat for the next 200 years?
Yeah, he did say that.
I'm not saying that word.
He said the N-word.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I don't use that word.
LBJ said that. And you know what is messed up is that's the way it is. He took advantage of the black vote, and they've been doing it ever since. And it's them that's creating the racial division in this country.
But if you look at the big picture right now in 2024, how many black people are actually going to go to the polls and vote for Kamala Harris?
it goes down the divide. Women are more inclined to vote for her, but black guys all over the place are saying, hey, I'm voting for Trump. Because they know they were making more money 4 years ago. Trump set up opportunity zones for them. But what do you got from Kamala? What the Democrats have been doing forever, trying to bribe them. Well, we're going to give you this much money for loans. Why do you think they try this reparations bullshit?
Oh, Lord.
They're trying to bribe them. Instead of saying, you know what? What we're going to do is we're going to help you clean up your streets. We're going to take down all those abandoned houses that are used for meth labs and clean up your neighborhood. We're going to put more police in your neighborhood so you have a better chance. They don't do that. Instead, they want to make these promises they know they can't keep.
And the moral of the story is...
And you know what? I don't believe it used to be that way all the time, Steve, where the ghetto culture is praised instead of hard work ethic, because what do these kids see? They see these dealers running around in caddies
and making bank
and having gold chains over them. Yeah, that's what they want to see because of their environment.
Do you know the answer to Jason's?
Didn't one of the founders of the Black Panthers, within the last few months, actually come out and say how Trump helped to fund them? I don't know. I'll look it up. But you got to remember, the Black Panther Party of yesteryear is a lot different than it is today. So, these are all good topics that we can actually talk about on Free Speech Saturdays, because I know damn well if I would have put it on my YouTube channel or something, it'd have been taken down. Which, if you look at the conversation that we're actually having, it's nothing bad about it.
Mm-mm.
And what they want to do is, well, for example, they don't want blacks to hear that, hey, there's people out there that want to help you, but hey, we want to control you. And that's what they want to do. Every 4 years.
Yeah, where are they unless it's an election year?
Chicago's been run for over 100 years by Democrats. What has that got you but the most racially segregated city there is? Please look that up. You'll know what I'm talking about. South side, west side, black. White, Hispanic, north side. East Coast, the Gold Coast, they call it. All the rich people looking down at us all. That's the way it's broken up in Chicago, yes or no?
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of black people where we lived on the north side?
No.
That's because the dividing line is the Eisenhower Expressway.
Mm-mm. When we lived out there, it was mainly, like I said, Polish and Italian. And I seen a lot of Hispanic, but there weren't...
Not a lot of blacks on that side.
To be honest, I don't think I really saw any. Maybe one or two.
So that tells you everything right there, doesn't it? So they'll divide us up like they have been. And I think they were, I think it was Steve or something, said Barack Obama is the one that's been dividing us on race ever since. Do you remember race being talked about this much before Obama?
No. Mm-mm.
And now it's like a campaign issue.
Well, I never really gave it much thought when you had to fill out your race on papers.
But now you give it a
But
thought.
now I give it thought because I'm like, what does it matter what race I am? The only time it should, I don't know. I don't think it should matter. Whether it's on a job application, whether it's on anything.
Now let's go on the opposite side of the coin where we say an EMT. You were an EMT.
Yeah.
Now, do you think affirmative action would work in that respect where you hire the best person for the job?
For an EMT?
Yeah.
Should always hire the best person for the job. It shouldn't matter what their race is.
Exactly.
Whether it's going to be a cop,
So-
a firefighter, EMT, a paramedic, a doctor, a lawyer, it shouldn't matter.
Well, a lawyer, they're trash, so you keep them out with
Well,
me.
I'm just saying, it shouldn't matter what the job, like whatever job it is, it should be the best person, the best applicant out there. It shouldn't matter what their skin color is.
Agreed, 1,000%. 1,000%. What?
I got to pick up our pizza.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm hungry.
You're
Feed this
hungry.
woman.
Look at that. She's trying to freaking, get me off of the show and stuff for Free Speech Saturday.
Yeah. I'm hungry.
She a hungry hippo, man.
I am. Hungry hippo needs to
She
eat.
has to build that ass because I told her today you
You
got
make
no
it fun
ass.
that I ain't got no ass. So yeah,
I was like,
gotta,
man, you're
I gotta
dancing
eat.
with that ass in front of me. I'm like, damn, man. You don't
I
got no
tagged-
ass.
Hey, I tagged you in a dance video on Instagram, but you didn't comment, but everybody else did.
Very great conversation today. And that's what I like Free Speech Saturdays on Rumble and X.
Can't wait to see what next Saturday's about.
Well, there's a lot of good topics. If you got a topic that you want us to cover, just let me know and we'll cover it
Let
for you.
you know. They can never get a hold of you.
Well, let China down know.
Nah.
What is your Instagram?
My Instagram? I don't even know.
Well, it's China down
Ask
something.
Steve.
Make sure you do that. Make sure you like and follow us over here on Rumble and Twitter. These are the only places you're going to be seeing this kind of content at. We're really picking it up over here. So anyway, we'll catch you all later. China down being China.